Hi folks, this is Jay. Hope you're okay today. We're looking at Alvin Plantinga's book, and that book is God, Freedom and Evil by Alvin Plantinga. And the argument that comes in the book is, number one, God, an omnipotent and perfectly good God, good being, exists. Two, God being omnipotent could create any world he wanted. Three, God being all good would prefer a world with no evil. 4. Evil exists. And conclusion, therefore God does not exist. So Alvin Plantinga is dealing with this argument, really, and he deals with it. He has these ideas of possible worlds, and he discusses all the issues there. But what I want to bring your attention to is just a couple of things. I want to just go through the premises myself, and then I'd encourage you to go and read the book, okay? But number one, premise one, God, an omnipotent and perfectly good being, exists. Well, we won't quarrel with that. Number two, God being omnipotent could create any world he wanted. I would question that premise. The argument is falling down now on that premise. I would say that I would question that. Could he create a world where someone could love him but did not have free will? I would say no. So that premise, second premise, doesn't work. Third premise, God being all good would prefer a world with no evil. God being all good would prefer a world with no evil. I would question that premise. In fact, if we go back to premise one, it says God, an omnipotent and perfectly good being, exists. The problem with that first premise is it's only limited in its definition, because God is not only good, but he is sovereign, he is loving, he is just. So there's one of the dangers with these kind of skeptical arguments. They only take one aspect of the character of God, and someone actually said, some skeptics said, be careful when you're arguing against the existence of God using one aspect of the nature of God, because the theist can trump you with other aspects of the nature of God in that argument that you're using. So I would say that the first premise, there's a problem because it's only limited in its definition. The second premise is a problem because God being omnipotent could create any world he wanted. Could he? I would say he couldn't create a world where there were people who loved him but didn't have free will. 3. God being all good would prefer a world with no evil. How would you know that? How does that relate to all his other attributes? God is sovereign, God is loving, God is just. So if God wanted to create a world where he demonstrates his justice and he demonstrates his love, he could allow evil in to show his justice and to show his love. So the third premise fails. For evil exists. That's a premise that falls down to the ground with the skeptics. Evil exists is a moral quality that you cannot get from a skeptical point of view. If you're going to argue against God on the issue of the problem of evil, then you have to have an objective moral standard of evil to be able to posit that there is no God. Because if this God created this evil, or allowed this evil, then if you're saying that on an objective basis. But where do you smuggle in the objective conception of evil? As a skeptic, for your own position is evolution, and evolution is morality is amoral. There is no evil. So how did you smuggle in an objective concept of evil from an amoral system? So that premise falls down to the ground. Conclusion, therefore God does not exist. So therefore your whole argument is taken to bits. I would encourage you to go and read God, Freedom and Evil by Alvin Plantinga, and you will enjoy a good read there as philosophy students. And God bless you. And what do you think about the problem of evil? Let me know.